Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. This is it. This is the last episode of Loki's Losers for now. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What's up, man? This is, I don't know. I feel like I would be coming into this pod a little different than I do feel. I thought I'd be a lot, crazier, like oddball things coming out left and right, but I don't know.
No, I'm with you. And
it's a strange one.
We'll get more on that later. I'm also joined by Miles Buttress. What's up, homie?
Hey, I'm just, same as every week. Happy to be here. Excited to talk about the finale, man. It's
what's that shit?
It's been 6 weeks, and it does not feel like the show has been going on for 6 weeks.
No, it
and
does not.
Man, do I not want to wait however long it's going to take to get the rest of this.
I'm with you. This is going to be exhilarating.
I don't want to have to wait to get Owen Wilson on a jet ski. I don't know why they didn't give it to us yet, but they're going to make us wait.
He's got
I'm not happy
all at hand. We now have to frame every storyline as though it is a multi-season show, even though we all went into it thinking it was probably a limited series.
Yeah.
So like the entire framing of the show, I almost wish they would have just told us, hey, this will be more than one season. We are also joined by Kyla Barnett. What's up, homie?
Glorious purpose.
Glorious purpose, and today that purpose is talking about this Loki finale. So, overall, first watch, I was aggressively underwhelmed. I'm not going to lie. I was like, okay, the Kang reveal was dope. I'm here for it. Immortus, he who remains. It's all going to end up being the same guy.
For just ease of sake, can we just refer to him as Kang this entire episode?
Yeah, I'm with it. Yeah,
okay. Because he's the only one we know of right now. That's canon, at least.
Yeah. So, sorry, I forgot my train of thought because of the message that popped up in the chat.
I was trying to do that without anyone noticing besides him, but
they could hear it.
Joseph, did you have a fan on?
I did.
I could hear it, and then I was like looking around for evidence, and I could see Joseph's banners, slowly swaying in the wind. Yeah,
fluttering. Yes. So first watch, I was a little underwhelmed. Kang, far and away the best part of the episode for me. The Loki Sylvie stuff, I was into a little bit, but like, I don't know. I'd feel like Loki would have to do more. I don't know. How did you guys feel overall about the episode? I'm gonna start with Kyler.
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. You guys told me before I watched it. I woke up and watched it the next morning. You guys told me, don't watch it. Don't get on Twitter before you watch it. And I wasn't thinking. I was sitting down eating my breakfast. I had just turned the episode on. Like literally, the Disney Plus is flashing up. I turn on Twitter, and the first thing I see is just Kang.
Yeah.
And immediately I'm like, wow, like that really just happened.
No,
I didn't even intentionally do anything. Like I was just zoned out going to Twitter just to check in the morning. Like I, just kind of go through it. And I wasn't looking. I didn't even think. It was just the first thing there. And I'm like, dude.
Fuck these people thinking that putting Loki spoilers .. thing works. It works when you're scrolling a little bit.
Or like put it in the thread. Put it in a thread below. So that way at least if I see the lead tweet, I don't like...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, if you're going to do spoilers, do a thread. Don't just...
But I suppose it's still my fault. So I kind of knew going
entirely
in, like...
your fault.
I guess what I was expecting. What I will say is, I loved finally seeing Loki get, like, it sucks. I don't love it, but I hated it, but I loved it. Like, he actually had, like, a relationship seem like it was actually closing successfully. Like, that was the most wholesome, like, arc he's seen in a relationship, at least until she pulled the fast one and did her own thing, and then he's left hurt worse than ever. Which I think was like, oh my god, I never would have guessed they'd actually hurt him again like this, and here they are doing it just over and over and over and over. But I guess it's penance for what he's done. So, I mean...
See, my thing here is that, like, we're probably going to see him go through a little more shit, too, because technically, while this is the same Loki, he didn't actually experience all the other shit. He just saw it play out on a time theater. So it's like, I now that we have this finale, I have a few more gripes with the season as a whole. Like, for example, I'm okay with Sylvie being another version of Loki. However, now that the big villain wasn't another Loki, I don't think you needed another Loki in this story, to be honest.
Okay, honestly, the whole relationship they had, it's just like, I think it's just to give something between them that's interesting. I really don't think it's like that deep. Like, I really think it's probably like over now. Like, I mean, Loki will try to go, find Sylvie in any way and convince her and woo her back, but I don't know. Sylvie kind of played her hand. She was just kind of like, at the end of the day, I don't really care. I'm going to do what I want to do.
I disagree.
I don't know, man.
I see the intention here. My idea for Sylvie in this moment is that she hasn't had the sort of revelation of character that our Loki has. Sylvie is still driven by one idea that she's had for thousands of years. Killing whoever controls this place. She's finally here. She has a chance to do it. She's like, why would I let this guy stop me now? I'm going to go ahead and do what I thought I should. She does it, and she immediately regrets it. That's why she collapses to the floor crying. I don't think there was exactly a right choice. I don't think Loki and Sylvie taking over was the right choice, but I also don't think, I mean, obviously, Kang getting killed was not the right choice either. Like, it was a lose-lose situation.
Sylvie still had her glorious purpose. She had not lost her glorious purpose like our Loki had, and that's part of the reason why she got to that crossroads where I think our Loki at that crossroads was like, all right, let's stop and think about this and not immediately go down the path of glorious purpose. And she was like, nah, fuck that bullshit. Kill him.
And I think that's why I ultimately really liked I think the thing that was the most redeeming part of the episode, I guess, for me, was seeing Loki ultimately grow into something, especially in this is technically Loki from 2012. So, like, he's still a ways away from not doing fucked up shit, like, in terms of what we've seen in the past. You know what I mean? So, seeing his arc and how honest he finally is for once. He is finally honest in making a decision that is at least admirable. Like, this isn't, like, an antagonistic, like, decision he's trying to make here necessarily. Like, he's trying to do what, like, you would expect, I guess, a hero to do in this sense. Like, he's doing the honest thing. He's not lying to Sylvie. He hasn't been manipulating her. He's actually having true wholesome feelings and expressing them correctly. And just seeing how that happens is an arc that I really appreciated. It just, the way it pans out, it just sucks he gets no reward for it. So it's like, damn, they're really just showing this guy that no matter what, if he's a dickhead, he loses. And if he does something true and honest and, wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit, he gets fucking shit on. So it's like,
dude, but okay. So if this Kang is responsible for literally everything we've seen, he knew Loki and Sylvie would be up to him at this point. Obviously, past the point of, the threshold, he didn't know what was going to happen. But that dude had a lot of time to plan. He thought of every possibility that ever could have happened. And he knows he's allowing this to happen, so he knows he will win no matter what, is the thing. Is that him allowing this to happen in the first place, he knows he's going to win. Which is kind of a weird concept because why would you have any obligation towards your other variants of yourself, you know?
I don't think he does. Like, I think this is truly him being like, I don't give a fuck anymore. You guys do whatever you want. If you so happen to kill me, guess what? This is just going to happen again. Like, he was being honest when he said, you can take my fucking spot. Like, you can maintain the order. Like, I think he was anyway. But they like, Loki had come to the revelation, and at least that, like, he can't control people, but he knew it was probably a better alternative than this guy again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I think he had been there for long enough that he knew, you know, like I don't care what, like, I think he had gotten to that point where he was like, I don't care what happens anymore.
You really think he doesn't care?
No. Why would he care?
This version of him? Yeah.
After watching the episode the second time, like you had said on first watch, you were a little disappointed. I was very much, loved it on my second watch. I realized, and I then decided, I was like, all right, I'm going to go look a little bit more into this. And though, like, he who remains in the comics had very much reached that same point where he was like, I don't care. Like, I care enough to, like, try and set the next, because in the comics it wasn't like, you know, the same timeline. It was a whole new universe type thing. But he was at that point where he was like, I am at the point where I'm going to try and set the next, you know, universe up well, but I don't care what happens to it.
I have another question about Kang and his whole plan. The only part of the story that I think he might have lied a little bit is that I don't know for sure he designed and laid the path for Sylvie and Loki after they're pruned. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, he was what's motivating them indirectly, you know, like, and I don't buy it completely, just because, like, I don't even know how that would work.
It's such a hard concept to wrap your brain around. It's basically free will or no. Like, is the question.
I think what they've set up so far is that there isn't free will, and that, you know, I think that based on the fact that he had, you know, he knew what was going to happen, and he had, like, you know, the printouts of what they were going to say and all that shit. I do think that he didn't, I mean, in a way, he kind of did allow them to get to that point, because he wanted to either set them up to take control and to continue on his vision, or to set them up to kill him and, you know, go through the whole process again.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's just I do think that he had these two. I don't get that. I don't get that part. Like, where he was like, turns out that person came in too. Like, you two are who are supposed to take over the TVA if I so choose. Like, was that random, or was that just because, like, they became the two choices? Like,
so maybe
in the beginning of time, like, the way this guy works when he set up the entire timeline, was that always the end of it?
Okay.
Maybe it was more of like, he knew, like, obviously at some point some variants were gonna, you know, get out and cause some fuck shit, and so he was just waiting to see, like, what variant will I deem worthy, and from then on he'll kind of, you know, change some stuff up to be like, all right, now I will allow this variant to continue on, and, you know.
I mean, we don't even know how Kang does this stuff. You know, I would assume it's probably with the technology that he has. I don't think there's just an innate power that he has.
No,
you know,
he doesn't have any powers.
So, like, it's just such a weird, like, maybe Kang is more like the story or the writer, but there's like an editor above him, you know, or something, you know, like maybe there's still another level above him, you know. I don't know.
No, I don't think there is. I think this was because of what we see after, you know, when we get back to the TVA and there's Kang, like, he took back over the TVA. Like, I think this is always his path, you know, like, he always ends up there, you know, like.
Well, if Kang always ends up there, then is someone writing Kang to end up there? Is Kang writing himself to end up there? Is there, I think
we've met the guy who is just so powerful that he will take over the universe every single time.
Well, I don't necessarily think it's a guy who's so powerful. I think it's just, like, every single version of the multiverse, he is in the right spot at the right time in every single version, that he's the one that discovers this technology.
He's Rick Sanchez.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
No, like, and that's what's crazy is that, like, we are actually getting the MCU villain version of Rick Sanchez, and you can't tell me otherwise. That's exactly what his character is. Maybe a little more sinister, depending on the variant and stuff.
I love
like,
the quirkiness of him, though. I love I love the way he talks, and, like, he, like, talks down at you, but it's also in such an elegant language that's, like, you're so unsure.
I wonder if he's going to have a different, like, obviously he's going to have different personalities depending on what Kang he is. Obviously. But I wonder, like, what thing will be like his, you know? Like, Loki's thing is being mischievous and double-crossing and, you know, and, like, I wonder what Kang's, like, his little quirk, I guess you could call it is, you know?
That, like, maintains throughout.
Mm-hmm.
Conquer. He's a conqueror. He wants it all.
I mean, like, even this guy, the guy who said he was, like, seeking an end to the conquering, like, making peace, isolating a timeline, even he weaponized Goliath and conquered all the other timelines. You know, so it's like...
Yeah.
Do you think he's just copying Adam and Eve? Like, do you think he got bored and he's like, well, this story worked one time, let's try it again?
Do you think there's a reason, do you think maybe the reason the Adam and Eve story exists is because of this? Like, in the universe, obviously, not here.
Like, maybe whenever we get into, like, Celestials and that sort of thing, like, maybe there is some religious ties. I don't know. I don't think Marvel...
They won't touch it, but
no.
It's a fun thought to go with.
Yeah, not a chance they touch
what
that.
I think this has to be is, like, where we're at with Loki in this new timeline.
Excuse me, Kyler?
We now have a Patreon exclusive segment that we are about to accidentally divulge in.
If you're wondering why he's doing this, just look at Twitter.
Okay, anyway, back to my main point. I think that we are going to see a super bad, like the ultimate Kang, like the one that's going to really have some sinister motivations, conquer all and kill all of the other timelines all on his own, and then come for the whole big thing in the end. I think that's where we're headed personally. As for what Colton just
That's why he started laughing, because he watched me look down at my phone and just look at me like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Would that not be...
That's what it was supposed to be.
Would that not be... That'd be the best fidget toy of all time. You would never get bored. Ever.
We won't let the people in on the joke. None of them will know what we're talking about. Overall, I'm gonna rein the conversation back in. The best part of this episode was Jonathan Majors as He Who Remains. You know, his performance, just from the moment he appears in that elevator with that big smile and that shocked look on his face, like, hi, you know, like
it was like, almost like Willy Wonka-esque is what it felt like. And that was incredibly, that was like awesome to see.
Well, and they might have actually been going for that little frame where he's like, he's like pushed up on his cheek like that. Like you saw Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka do that. Like,
did you see him look at the camera? Did you see him? Okay. The thing about this is, like, I don't like bringing it up because it could just simply be they're looking past the camera. Like, very simple, you know. I don't know. What? Did I?
Nothing.
Okay. But, like, the fact that only Loki, Sylvie, and now Kang have done it, you know, like, no other character has done it in the way that they have. And they kind of broke the fourth wall-ish. They broke every wall, technically. I don't know. Like, this is, like, mid-season. This is not a big, you know, like, there's more to the show, obviously, if they're coming back with a whole nother season. This is halfway through, at least halfway.
Yeah. However, when do we see season 2? Like, is this Multiverse of Madness, which Tom Hiddleston has been confirmed to be returning?
I was going to say, that's what I was going to say. I think that we're going to get tidbits in between in some of these movies, at least things that happen in the movies that have to have effects on season two comes into play.
Has to be before Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania. I feel like that's the... I feel like season 2 will lead into Just because Jonathan Majors is in that movie, like
What are Ant-Man and Wasp supposed to do about this guy?
Okay, so no, what I want to say is, so while we're gonna say that, and Colton, you agreed, and so if we're talking about that the season 2 would come out right ahead of Quantumania, I've seen theories saying that in Ant-Man and the Wasp, when they're in the quantum realm, you can see like a huge, what looks like kind of city in there. And like, it looks very like from a distance and like, you know, it looks kind of like the TVA. Think about how people have said multiple times in the TVA that the time works differently or behaves differently in the TVA. What do they always say about the quantum realm? I mean, if that would be, I just mean in the timeline's sake, like if that's when it's going to release, think about how seamless that story would flow, especially with, if we're going to time multiverse. What?
I said Kyler's missing episodes is showing. No, I'm just kidding.
What?
No, Joe said those like exact words like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was in Florida, dude. I haven't.
No. I was just.
No, we don't. We do not forgive you, Kyler. We do not forgive you.
Like that's. I love that theory. It's
the quantum realm has to be involved.
It's the only thing I'm comfortable with guessing where the TVA is at this point.
It has to be involved in some way. There's no way it's not.
I just don't see where you'd get the space and how you'd be able to have all of that and
I think.
I mean,
maybe just all goes down to is the like destruction or the closing of the quantum realm, and that's what fixes the multiverse. That's what fixes this free will. Everything is like I think what's going to end up happening is people are going to start trying for Marvel to become more grounded. They're going to be tired of how like way too like. I don't know, like the way it gets too big, and I guess I hate to say this, but like it's too like I don't know,
fuck
like
that. I want it to be
it's like too deep, like
possible.
You've gone too far. So like I could see if they were gonna build to something like that, what better way? Like Endgame was kind of like the mind blowing like introduction of how they're gonna manipulate this shit. Whoa, crazy! Like that got kind of deep, but like we're still in an area where there's still room to go more. But eventually you're going to run out of room, I think. So, like, I could see something like what Joseph is saying. Like, that essentially then keeps us, like, now the space stuff works. But, like, when you get into, like, we're talking about time travel and stuff, like, that's when stuff starts, you start seeing people complain. Like, oh,
that's why I was so interested in the fact that they were like, TVA, we're going to put that on the table. Because, like, at that point, you're really diving into a realm of science fiction that nobody has ever successfully navigated. Like, It always goes bad. Like, it's always confusing. It never makes sense.
Look at like what people say about Doctor Who, the like Arrow or like the DC shows. Kind of, I hear similar complaints about.
Yeah,
like,
but that's DC shows. This is Marvel, baby.
Still though, I'm saying eventually, I think you have to run out of room. It's like, oh my god, we can't keep seeing crazy. Like this stuff is just going too far for me. Like let's rein it back in a little bit. I don't know. I could see them wanting to have
potentiality too. I think.
I just know how wishy-washy fans can be. So,
but at the same time, there's the whole thing
between Marvel and DC is that with Marvel, we are comfortable with trusting these people to execute this.
Absolutely.
I have zero trust in
I'm not
DC's
claiming
movie
I will.
making.
I'm not claiming that I'm one of those people, but just like look at what fans do. Like look at how Star Wars
average fan
properties for certain things, and just
I
same thing with Marvel.
Like
I'm just saying, like I feel like at what point do like they start having to bend the knee a little bit almost like
think about it. The average fan doesn't even watch these TV shows.
If that would
they don't even watch these TV shows like the average fan.
Yeah, but they can't deny this forever because they're going to start seeing shit in like the Doctor Strange movie and stuff that's going to blow. They're going to be like, well, this doesn't make sense. And it's like, well,
but you also have to think about the fact that yes, like there is going to be a point where they might have to do that. But at the same time, they can't just continue doing what they've done in the past because then people will get bored. Because then you're going to be like fans that are just like what happened with Star Wars and the fact that, you know, like in essence, the sequel trilogy to some was just the original trilogy made, you know, in 2020. And you can't just keep doing the same stories over and over again. You need to throw weird shit in that makes people be like, whoa, where the fuck did that come from?
Well, and that's the thing too, is that like, I don't think we're like Marvel Comics runs deep. Like the source material runs deep. We're not short of anything ever. I think that like we're going to reach a peak in villain in terms of like how wild we can get before it's like, okay, now we're going to have to dive into some pretty iffy villains.
Well,
but like,
and once they reach that point, they can also just have one of those nice, real cool world resets where they just, have some cataclysm that destroys everything. They're like, whole new world.
Yeah. See, and like, that's the thing too, is that I'm also on board with these one-off stories. However, you've also reached a point where I agree with Kyler. You've gone too far. Like we've gotten 24. I mean, I know Kyler wasn't exactly saying this, but like from the general perception of a lot of people, it's like, how am I supposed to jump into this shit? There's 25 movies and 3 shows now. Like, I got to watch all of that?
Yes.
Dead ass?
Yeah.
And
just do it. It takes like a week. You could easily knock that out in a week. Are you kidding me?
You'd be putting in some fucking work if you knocked that out.
Yeah, but talk about how fun that week would be.
It'd be quite the week. You'd leave your room and at the end of that 7th day and be like, water.
I haven't seen the sun in 6 years.
Yeah, you'd step outside, you'd open your eyes and be like, burns!
You'd essentially turn into that.
I haven't had a shower in the last 9 days.
You'd end up like that dude from Benchwarmers, the one that eats sunscreen and like can't go outside. He's afraid of the sun. Like, somebody get him his sword.
But yeah, so like, it might be reaching a point where it's like, there's like the average, it's almost at a point where it's like, if you're in, you're in. Because we're officially reaching a point where if people are outside the universe looking at this and going, they're opening a multiverse where they're going to tell all these different stories, I'm like, that sounds like it's about to get even harder to follow. I'm out. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least that's how I would react if I wasn't a Marvel fan. I'd be like, because the general perception of people who aren't Marvel fans is like, all these movies are the same. Why would I do that to myself?
Yeah.
There's no way.
Marvel fans, you would look at it and be like, yes, give me more.
Yeah, I'm with
Control me, daddy.
The thing is that I still kind of firmly believe that big, like, MCU level ramification events will happen in the movies. They will save as much as they can for the movies just because they know that is what most people watch.
This multiverse opening is arguably
this is the biggest thing to ever. Yeah, it is. It is the biggest thing to ever happen.
I also think that because of that, in like the multiverse of madness type thing, I think like the first we're gonna get a quick recap at the beginning for the first couple minutes where they're gonna be explaining what the fuck is going on.
Like, I don't see this as a quick fix at all. Like, this is not this is not going to be fixed in Doctor Strange. I don't think.
Well, I don't think you're talking about. I don't think. They might unless they do decide to go back, clean the slate. I don't think they're gonna ever get rid of the multiverse because it opens up way too many avenues to bring in new characters, new stories, all that stuff that they can do.
At the same time, it's like multiversal war. Like people will want it to end.
I think they'll fix the multiversal war aspect, but I think they'll still keep the multiverse aspect.
The thing with the multiversal war, though, Kang explains that the multiversal war was because of him.
That's true.
Like, the other versions of himself fought each other. Like, that's where the war came in. It wasn't that, everybody, I don't think anyone but the people who have access to the multiverse even really know the multiverse is open.
That's true. Other than Kang, Sylvie, and Loki.
How
many people know this information? How many people know?
I
mean, probably obviously it'll get into a Scarlet Witch and Doctor Strange will obviously figure out some point soon because Doctor Strange will be like, hold on, what the fuck's going on? Why is it that whenever I travel through other dimensions, I'm seeing all these other weird dimensions like ours?
But as of right now, human-wise, I'd say I don't think there's anybody else. Maybe Fury, maybe.
No.
But that's like a 1% chance. I could see Fury knowing, though. I could see Fury knowing.
Fury's known all along.
The thing that comes with
Fury all along.
The multiversal war is I don't think that the universe definitively descends into chaos. It's just that the Kang from that reality has to start the chaos. You know what I'm saying?
Or it's defending its it's defending against every other Kang.
Yeah, like it's something like that. And so I don't know that the average person would even fucking know the
Maybe
multiverse.
we're gonna see like a Kang erasal story where people are
I
just
could
going
see
through
that.
multiverses, just killing Kang,
I'm telling you, I
Nathan,
think there
whatever
is
his name
going
is.
to be one almighty Kang that goes and does all of that for them. They're going to be freaked out thinking about how they're going to do it, and all of a sudden they're going to see in the TVA all these branches start coming off, and it's going to be one almighty Kang that just fucks up everyone and does it all for them. Think about it. There is no way that have you seen all the memes on TikTok where it's like, whoa, please, like, I can't do this shit no more, and it's Doctor Strange looking at all the branches coming off the shit? He can't fucking do that shit. With Wanda, who is in no state to do this shit either, they are fucked. They are fucked.
Well, here's the other
this
thing.
This Kang is going to have to solve all the problems, but the problem is going to be, oh shit, this Kang just killed every other Kang in all of their timelines. Holy fuck, what are we going to do?
Another thing with Wanda, she's not going to want to close the multiverse because
she wants Billy Tommy. She wants Billy Tommy.
And Tommy in another fucking world.
Bro,
Loki
facts.
Before WandaVision in the timeline. They confirmed this shit.
This is how Wanda becomes the villain. Like, it's just her interests are not aligned with probably the Avengers or whoever the Avengers become to be. The Young Avengers, if we're getting them, they're going to be like, okay, we got to do something about this. And Wanda's going to be like, I don't want you to do anything. Just actually don't do anything, preferably. And that's probably where the spark starts, I would say.
I don't think we're getting Young Avengers before Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Well, I'm just saying, I didn't necessarily mean Young Avengers. I'm just meaning whoever the group is at the time. Because I don't think they're going to just solo movie to solo movie. Like, they're definitely going to be meeting.
Oh, they'll eventually, and especially with Kang, like, the often tie with Kang in terms of a superhero group is the Young Avengers. I would actually see them framing it in a different way, though. Like, not exactly Young Avengers, but maybe they just go with the straight-up New Avengers.
Like, we just need a group, and we're the only ones that are left, so...
Because, some of them aren't that young, like Spider-Man was a part of the old Avengers. He would still be a part of the Avengers, but he's older than Billy and fucking Tommy, you know what I'm saying? And if we want to get them in the Young Avengers, like, they're going to
Well, they could have they could have, like, a Miles Morales, who would be
Miles
younger.
Morales, yeah.
And not old Peter Parker, right? Because, he's so old.
A Monica Rambeau. She's the perfect age for,
For a New Avengers, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like Haley Steinfeld's Hawkeye, Yelena Belova's Florence Pugh's Black Widow. Like, those are going to be in the New Avengers, I'm assuming. Otherwise, what are we setting up here? You know what I'm saying? I'm just excited for whatever the fuck this multiverse opening means. It's obviously going to... and Kang is Nathaniel Richards, who is a descendant of Reed Richards. So that's like we're officially. We haven't officially.
But
we haven't.
Do we know that? Do we know that he is
That's comic book.
No, I know, but like they could just say, like he didn't come from Nathaniel Richards. He came from Billy Bob. Like they could literally do anything they want,
Yeah, but I'm with you there. Like as of now,
I see what you're saying. Though I definitely but
Joseph. It's the same last name. Everyone knows people who have the same last name are always related. Every single Smith related.
Yep, me and Paul George, we link up all the time. Yeah, we're like
look at yourself. Of course you are.
Oscar Robertson is my grandpa. But
there's a linebacker for the Packers that have my last name.
I remember him.
Yeah, I don't know anyone famous that has my last name. So fuck you guys.
Get fucked.
Buttress. Bust it.
Bust.
Any other what else you guys want to talk about from this?
Slayer.
Let's talk about Ravonna. Okay, so another character. Her, like the whole TVA arc, B-15, Mobius, Ravonna, that is officially multi-season arc. I thought we were going to get some resolution, and I was a little disappointed when we did on the first watch. I was a lot better with it the second time around because we knew there would be a season 2. We know the story's not going to end here. All right, I'm cool with the setup. And this also means for me, Miss Minutes is like, he think this will be much better. And she's like, who? Oh, Kang was like, come with me, baby. Come through. Who better to rebuild TVA with than the woman who has dedicated her livelihood to it? Bro, she immediately went and linked up with a different Kang.
Oh, yeah.
That's what she did on the other side of that door.
I never really thought about where she went. That's kind of like a very important detail to think about.
Yeah.
But
Joseph, you mentioned something about her teaching at...
Yeah, at the same high school that Andrew Garfield went to. And his Spider-Man. It's the same one. It is the same one. The pen?
That one was in... That one, I rewatched the scene thinking, like, I wanted to look up some more stuff about this. This one's in, like, Columbus, Ohio.
No, but they changed the name. No. Wait.
The opening of the scene is that it's in Columbus, Ohio.
And in the Spider-Man movie?
No, in Loki. In the Spider-Man movie,
they do
he's
say
always
it's in
from
Ohio? Oh.
Yeah. And also he never went to like a normal high school. He went to, like science high school.
Well, I thought it was Midtown, I thought.
Well, yeah, or things like that.
I don't
know. I do not know.
No. I wonder what's going to happen with Renslayer, because that was crazy to watch. I loved that part.
Yeah.
It's such a small part of the episode that when it only really sticks out in rewatch once you've actually processed all of the other things that have happened.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know. I still don't know about this. Because, like, her pin, it says, like, Franklin Roosevelt High School. I think that's the name of the high school.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Franklin D. Roosevelt High School.
Yep.
And in The Amazing Spider-Man, Peter walks by. You literally see it in the background. Franklin D. Roosevelt High School. In the
Joseph,
same...
I can give you a real quick hint. It's a president. There are like 1,000 Franklin Delano Roosevelt
I
high
understand that, but Marvel isn't doing that.
But they said Ohio, right?
That's not a coincidence. If they're just choosing...
I'm like 99% sure that it said in the episode that like it came up where whenever they always like go to the different like locations.
Guess what?
And
The
times,
multiverse exists now. Maybe Spider-Man grew up in Ohio. Is it that hard to believe that he didn't grow up in New York a couple states over?
I'd kind of hate that.
Why does it matter? It doesn't matter. Literally nothing matters anymore. Lokis are analysts in the TVA and aren't looked at as variants and stuff.
I do not know. That ending was weird to me. So, am I to believe that because Loki and Sylvie were with He Who Remains outside of the timeline at the time of its branching, that they don't exist in the timeline anymore? Like, why was Loki automatically a TVA agent? Like, aren't you an analyst? Like,
I don't think that he was saying that because he was like, hey, you're an analyst, right? Because like I recognize, like I've seen you before. I think it was more of just like, I'm seeing some random person that I've never seen before. I'm just going to assume you're an analyst.
That's fair.
Because you're not walking up on me in a suit of armor.
However, this also insinuates that he's, I guess that Loki's can look like anything. We got that confirmed. So
yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, well, he doesn't know this guy to be a Loki. So.
Oh man, what the heck?
I don't know what's going to happen with Loki. Like, I'm thinking we might be heading down a route. I don't think they're going to shy away from the Sylvie Loki thing. I know Kate Herron is no longer involved in season 2. She won't direct it as she did the first 6 episodes here. And I also don't think Michael Waldron will be writing season 2. So they could straight up go, fuck it, new route. Like...
I just feel like we're going to see, like, there's so much to be resolved because, like, to me, the most standout thing that happens with Loki, like, now, he can't afford to worry about just, like, this Kang shit that's going to happen or whatever that overarching stuff is. He has to find himself an ally because right now, Mobius and Hunter D15 isn't on his side right now. So, like, that's the most immediate pressure for him right now is like he's got to figure out a way to expose them to all this again because what is his end goal? Is it to try to get back there, to try to find some way to get to Sylvie? Regardless of what it is, he has to have an ally, and I think that's where it comes in first. So,
well, and also, how did they rebuild the TVA? Is it the same as before? Are they being lied to? Because
Oh,
It's not the timekeepers anymore. It is just Kang.
So is Kang being straight up like, hey, I need you to maintain the timeline or you'll die?
Well, that's the thing.
That's
the thing is that we only saw that area. That doesn't mean that there are statues of like, we saw multiple statues of Kang, but there could have been a Sylvie statue like on the other side, like very, very possibly. I don't think so. I think it's just Kang at this point.
I do too.
He's fully out there. He's like, you know who I am. I control you. I conquered your timeline. Be grateful that I haven't killed you, basically. Like that is the Kang that is controlling over this TVA. It's not like, they made up some story about this guy and blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure he's very open about it to them at this point. I don't know, though. Could.
It is interesting to, and that's the thing, too, is that, we're not left in a place with this finale where, we can theorize all we want, but, because the multiverse opened, that literally means anything can happen. And how do you theorize about anything can happen? Other than Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire will probably be in Spider-Man No Way Home.
Early, I'm going to get this in before Joseph. Early claim. Next TVA that we see, the next new TVA we see, instead of Kang, it's going to be, God damn it, I just can't remember his name. God.
You trying to say Ultron?
Ultron. I as I was going to make the claim to piss you off, I was like, I just don't, that name left my mind. Yeah, it's going to be Ultron. Ultron, makes the TVA. And is going to start conquering timelines.
Well, and see, that's what's fun about the opening of the multiverse. That's as better.
Anything is possible
now than it ever was.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. AG and
Barnett.
Big
now, this what if
Yeah.
series, instead of being a what if this happened, it's just going to be like, let's go look at a different multiverse.
That's literally what it is.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. I think, just because, they're framing it as the what if, but because the multiverse just opened, I think it's fair to assume this is happening somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because infinite realities and stuff.
Joseph, real quick, I looked at it. It was Fremont, Ohio.
There has to be something more there, obviously. They wouldn't be hinting at that pin the whole time and then her showing in the finale that she's at this school and it's going to mean something. It's going to connect dots somewhere. Whether that's Andrew Garfield.
Did they hint at a pen more than just...
Yes. Mobius. Yes. Let me tell you. So, Renslayer had a pen. They were signing off on the case. They were completed. And Mobius had this pen, and he goes, where'd you get this one? Or, where'd you get this trophy? As, it was one of her things that she's collected. And the camera focused in on the pen very close up, and it said Franklin D. Roosevelt High School. Blue pen, white letters.
I think all that's.
They brought it up 3 times total, though. The pen.
Yeah, but they brought it up in the finale. They didn't focus in on it to show where'd you get this from? It was him being like, hey, I figured out where you got the fucking pen from, and that's why she's like, what did you do? And that's whenever she realizes, because she knows that there's, it's obvious that she knows that there's an original version of her in the timeline.
I'm not just talking about the interaction between Mobius and her. I'm talking about the audience in this pen and what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
with
they were
this
zooming in
pen.
on it in previous episodes to show you hey, something more is going on with this pen. Think about it, and that's that's what happened.
It's literally what I'm saying. I'm literally saying that they showed this pen, and it is meaning that wherever Renslayer is at is it is significant in some way.
No, I think, but what I'm saying at least is that the significance of the pen was not Franklin Delano Roosevelt High School. It was it's that she worked there, and that this was the whole thing all along, was that they weren't created, they were taken. That's the significance of it. Not that we're gonna get Andrew Garfield.
That I find it hard to believe that Andrew Garfield's high school has the same name as the high school on this pen.
I also looked it up, and I couldn't find what high school it said that he went to. I don't think he went to a Franklin Delano Roosevelt High School in The Amazing Spider-Man, because I looked that up, and I just couldn't, I didn't feel like rewatching the movies to find, that piece of information.
Okay. Regardless whether it's Andrew Garfield or not, I just am saying...
No, I get what you're saying.
It's like an illusion, at least.
Yeah.
Something is up.
Something is afoot.
Oh.
And it could just be as simple as it's a foreshadow of, Andrew Garfield will pop up. It doesn't mean that he went to this exact high school where Ravonna Renslayer was the principal. And I am more convinced now than ever that at least Andrew Garfield will be in this next Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
I think Tobey Maguire's a little bit out of his game for it.
Oh, come on.
But I think Andrew Garfield's
He's Uncle Ben. Perfect age.
I think if we see Tobey Maguire in it, it'll be like a hardcore cameo. Like, he won't be in it.
No.
He will.
I also think I'm going to go out on a limb here, Joseph, and go with go with Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker is not Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
How do you know?
I'm going on a limb and saying they're not going to go with that story.
Why not? If that's just a cameo, he gives him some advice or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay. You're saying he's going to play as Uncle Ben.
As Tom Holland's Uncle Ben.
Okay, I thought you were saying they were going to have him be a multiversal Peter Parker that was also our universe's Uncle Ben, and I was like, I don't think they're going to go with that storyline, Joseph.
I'm just saying that this is Tom Holland,
Okay,
yeah.
I could get behind that a little bit more.
That'd be actually really, really fucking cool if that's
Yeah.
it's the flashback scene. Maybe Tom Holland gets the suitcase out again and opens it, and he flashes back to fucking Tobey Maguire opening it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Tobey Maguire and Marissa Tomei, that's more of an even age match than our stereotypical.
Oh, Marissa Tomei. So beautiful.
Oh.
So beautiful. I just watched Far From Home the other day, and I was like, yo. Because Ashlyn pointed out that Zendaya is one of my celebrity crushes or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I was like,
I don't trust you if Zendaya's not.
I was like, Zendaya,
okay.
I was like, yeah, and then Marissa Tomei came out. I said, but that right there, I said that's it right there.
I'm a guess Tyler's top three here. It's Marissa Tomei, it's Zendaya, and is Linda what's her name? Linda Cardellini?
Yeah, bro, yes. So no, and then Florence Pugh might replace. I don't know. She's got top five. Florence Pugh, she's fine. She can cook though. I just want to cook with her. I don't even care. I don't even care if I get some play. I just want to cook with her. That's it. Simple.
She seems fun to be around. Ew, that was disgusting.
I really have to watch that movie.
I do too.
Yeah,
Tyler over here making inside jokes.
I know. My bad.
Every TikTok
You
that
are
I've
such a
only
poser.
seen, I'm glad. Every TikTok I've only seen of Black Widow is just of her and her alone.
Yeah, it's just talking about how hot she is.
She is far and away and this was going into it. I saw a tweet that was for future reference, everybody, I liked Florence Pugh before she was in a Marvel movie.
Mm.
Oh, nah. I mean, I'd seen her in Midsummer and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I knew about her, but her
I seen her in, Fighting with Family.
Yeah, but just her look in this movie was it was on. It was just now I'm seeing her more consistently. It was I saw her in Midsummer and then didn't really see much.
I get you.
And then bang, she was
Little Women. She's been in some big stuff. But now she's in a Marvel movie, which is going to make millions of dollars, and she's going to become one of the most famous actresses on earth.
Love it. Love that for her.
Love that for her too. And see, that's why if you are offered a Marvel movie in any capacity, you say yes. For example, did you guys see that Michael Waldron, the head writer of this series, had not watched Avengers until May? You know, the movie that set up this Loki?
Avengers.
Until this most recent May?
This May 2021. He tweeted about it.
You're telling me that this man wrote the story for this TV show having not watched Avengers?
Hey, and don't you think that makes a little sense given the treatment of Loki's character? I really think Loki could have been replaced by any character in the MCU and they could have maintained the story. You know what I'm saying? They could changed a few details, in terms of what bothers them.
This really makes me believe that there is a council on Marvel that is just nerds that know everything.
Oh,
and
100%.
It gives an opportunity for someone who has zero Marvel knowledge to literally watch the movies in the same, like, dude didn't know really anything. I just think there's just a panel of Marvel nerds that are like, no, that's just impossible. Like, they're like, they have the say. Like, I feel like Favreau, Feige are like the main two of this council.
There's a story group.
Yeah.
There's the Timekeeper Council.
Of course.
But they're just massive fucking nerds.
Mm.
And the same goes for Star Wars. Like they like, this is something Disney has. Like, they have story groups that do ultimately not have final say, but have a great deal of influence in the story.
They're never gonna have final say on the story, but I feel like they will have like final say and like being like, hey, that thing that you wanted to add in, no fucking chance, unacceptable.
And I appreciate getting someone who hadn't seen Avengers to write this, because it does give us an opportunity to have a really new, really fresh perspective of a character we love, which I think we absolutely got with this version of Loki. We've never seen him be head over heels in love, and there's a reason a lot of Loki fans feel like it's out of character for this Loki, because this motherfucker hadn't watched Loki before.
You know what? On second thought, now that I hear that, hate this entire TV show. Hate it.
I mean, it's like it gives it a.
I'm joking.
If you watch Marvel for the continuity, like the character continuity, them maintaining them exactly. Like, I'm okay with some switches every now and then. Like, you don't see it a whole time.
Wait.
What, Joe?
I
saw the wheels turning in Joe's head, and I'm trying to figure out what
he could have like latched onto.
Yeah.
That I said, I don't know.
No, when did the multiverse? Like, because it's not 2012. Like, they're.
So I think the way that they're going with it is, as soon as the multiverse branched, it then became like the multiverses had always been separate.
Yeah,
they were literally being created though in front of our eyeballs.
They were branching off.
They were not being created. They were branching off from the timeline.
Yes.
They were all running on the same timeline.
Yeah, but once those branch off and are now operating on their own timeline, because of the whole, because these timelines exist on the closed loop, once it branches off onto its new timeline, it has always been on that new timeline to them.
So if I'm on Earth, this happens, I don't realize anything has changed.
Shit.
Everything that you have lived before that is then never existed, and everything in this new timeline that you now exist in has been your entire life. So it overwrites everything that has happened and will happen.
I don't exactly agree with that. I think once it branches, it's branching from whatever,
it's branching from infinite Nexus events.
Yeah, exactly.
So literally everything that could happen is going to happen.
Yeah. So if you experience a Nexus event and you end up branching from to a new timeline, you still remember what happened on the other timeline.
Yeah, I did say that. Everything after that, yes, but it's kind of like every Nexus event that has ever happened is happening at the same time, and so all of these multiverses that exist, this multiverse exists because this Nexus event happened in the timeline. That whole timeline has always existed now for that multiverse.
Yeah.
So literally not one thing mattered before Loki and Sylvie went up to that office then. Not a thing.
I mean, in the sense that none of them had free will, yeah.
Literally nothing has mattered until this point.
I mean, no, it's all mattered, but it has always was going to happen.
Nope.
I mean, Joe, that's a really shitty way to look at the story being told, though.
But that's what it is.
No, because even if you don't have...
If this was real life, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But also,
regardless,
even if it is real life, even if there was no free will, I mean, it still all mattered. It was always going to happen, but it still all mattered. You still lived it.
But none of my choices were my own at all.
But the choices were still made, and you still lived out those choices.
You're living as a mindless, just
no. You still have a mind.
And blood. Not
you just don't know that the mind has already been decided for you.
You don't have a mind at that point.
You still have a mind.
So what's the difference between us and a computer? They have a brain they can think. We think we have free will. They do not. We control their will. That's the only difference between us and them.
We have a soul, Joseph. We have a soul.
Okay.
Yes.
Mm.
Temple.
Mm.
So chickens, they got a soul too, and we just kind of.
No, fuck chickens.
Yeah, they do.
I don't know. It's very interesting.
Why
I mean,
stopped eating them?
literally
Nah, fuck that.
nothing
Chickens
mattered
are
until
tasty.
that point. On the scale of the universe, nothing mattered before that point.
I mean, I'll let you have it.
Well, but actually, no. Yes, it did still matter because even though
your choices were made for you, say you loved your family.
no, but
As soon as you get free will, are you going to be like, well, fuck that. That was decided for me. Fuck my family. No.
but not even that argument. These choices were made on all these other timelines. In this original, our universe, our multiverse, these choices were being made correctly. Like, these were people's choices because he based every other timeline based on what timeline his universe ran on.
I think it's like this. Here's how I'm going to view the decision that Sylvie made
Joseph, you're a
and the outcome of it. I'm going to view this simply put like, you remember in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom? Is that the most recent one? When at the end she releases all of the dinosaurs?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's the decision Sylvie has made, essentially. And simply
Let the
put,
dogs out.
I refuse to believe that doesn't matter. You can't make that insignificant. You can't say that didn't matter. I disagree.
Okay.
Now,
I guess.
because Loki has not shit to show for it, and Sylvie is absolutely destroyed by what she's watching unfold and what she did, I get it. It might seem like it was for nothing, but it definitely was not nothing. Like, that has significance.
If you look at the universe in real life, it's very depressing in every way. But we're talking about Marvel here, so we don't even have to get into that. We can just talk about it as a Marvel universe. My thing is that, I think what they're trying to say more is what we've seen until this point is just the, fairy tale Marvel where it's, everything's right, written in Hollywood style where our heroes are going to win. And, it happens in a crazy way like Endgame. It's a beautiful...
Did you say Loki and Sylvie won? What did they win?
We're going to start getting movies where just villains are just fuck the heroes.
This is their informal way of saying anything can happen. We're not going to... it's not going to be sunshine and rainbows anymore, I think is what they are saying.
The last two biggest Marvel movies, Thanos killed half of the entire universe. The next one, Tony Stark fucking died. Black Widow died. What are you talking about?
He brought back everyone, and it was a happy moment. Everyone, obviously for the Avengers, it's
everyone else. I like Iron Man.
It has a cost. It has a cost. You can't call that sunshine and rainbows. Look at what Wanda did. She look like she was sunshine and rainbows?
We're gonna have to classify canonized Marvel stuff now. What If is not canon, but it is. Because literally anything is canon technically, but nothing is canon.
Oh my God.
There's a universe.
Seriously though, this is Marvel.
Well, yeah, I'm with you, but I think you're just emphasizing too much importance on it. It's just kind of that's the case now,
But that's all. Before this, we had always assumed that there was, before knowing that there wasn't a multiverse, people were thinking that there was a multiverse. And so people just, anytime that there's the existence of the multiverse, there's always an infinite number of timelines where literally everything that you could ever possibly think of has happened. And as such, it's not really it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my thing too, is that I think Joe's concern, not Joe's concern, but what Joe's point is, it could become a problem if they do start to make projects that aren't in line with this. If they start making one-off projects that literally have nothing to do with anything.
This could be the downfall of Marvel.
It won't be though.
But it very well could be.
I mean, it could be if
they start going in the DC route of, hey, we can make any story we want. We're just going to do it now. We're not going to have any, real sense of continuity.
And that's the thing is that they can't. This opened up the opportunity for them to start doing that, but they won't only do that.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Also,
keep continuing this story as much as they possibly can.
Also, DC's downfall has never been, they've gone with, too many stories or things like that. It's been the stories that they've done have not been done well.
Yeah.
Not like no one's gripe with Superman versus Batman was like, I hate the idea of Batman and Superman fighting. It's like, no, it was just the way you did it wasn't good. And that's Marvel's problem has never been, it is never going to be, I don't like the fact that you did this story. It'll be if suddenly the writing and the directing just goes down to the shitter, and that we've never seen that, that possibility come up from Marvel so far.
Arguably, a lot of people fucking despise this series for its writing and its directing.
Yeah, but those are, I only like the classic movies. I only like the old-timey movies. Superhero movies suck. Suck me off.
Suck me off. Control me, daddy. But I do think there is cause for not concern, but like being wary. Like this. I mean, sure, it could go poorly. I don't think it will. I think they'll do just fine. I think that if they want to start telling one-off stories, I invite that. I'll watch them. I'll enjoy them.
Yeah.
And however, I don't think they will start creating one-off stories at the cost of the continuous canonized stories they've already started. Yeah. They'll keep that going as long as they possibly can. I have zero doubt of that. What we do have to realize though is that not everything will involve the multiverse. Like that, sometimes that shit just won't matter. Like with probably Shang-Chi. I don't feel like they're going to branch into the multiverse much. Eternals doesn't even seem like they're going to touch on multiverse a ton.
Talk about the weirdest place to get into the multiverse. If we get like some, massive multiverse ramifications from fucking Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
I mean, like, the thing is that, like, you never know. We get
possible.
Solo movies with major implications all the time. Like,
no, I just mean like it's possible, but with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man No Way Home on the horizon, I highly doubt they say, nah, let's give it to you in Shang-Chi.
Oh no, I'm with you. And here's the thing is that they've made it clear that like the multiversal stories are those. They've already made it clear that Shang-Chi isn't one of them. So like, I obviously don't think they'll involve that, but like Moon Knight, that's not going to be multiversal. That's just going to be fucking Moon Knight, like, and it's not going to detract from anything we've seen, I don't think, just on the grounds of it being a solo story, like it's just gonna play into our canon as we've seen before.
I also think for the most part Marvel's mostly gonna focus on what is so far the MCU, and the rest of the multiverses will come in and be like, they will be parts of certain stories, but I don't even think they'll be a major part of most stories. I think most stories will stay in the MCU, and then every once in a while we'll branch out into the multiverse for whatever purpose.
I'm with you 100%. I think that I think what this also does, them opening the multiverse, gives you the ability to be like, fuck it. Venom's happening somewhere. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is happening somewhere. All these things are happening somewhere. Like, Marvel MCU isn't directly telling you that, and Disney's not directly telling you that, but with infinite realities, any of these stories that we've ever seen from Marvel at any point could be happening somewhere. And that makes it, in some way, for some people, I'm sure it will make them go, that's kind of fucking cool. I like this movie more now. And for me, I already liked most of them. I don't think that fact is going to improve.
I hated those movies before, but now that I know that they're technically part of the MCU, love them.
Yeah, see, like,
every movie I go into, is this a part of the MCU? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, I just close my eyes.
I love how you form your opinions. It's just like, more people hate it, I like it.
And
don't blame you.
Yeah, well, and it's the converse as well. So more people love it, fuck it. Garbage.
Fuck it. Fuck Toto. But I for one think that this story was It ended up being so-so. I will say that having what is that? Kyler, are you watching something?
What the fuck?
We could hear
No, I can't hear you.
Yeah, we can't hear anything anymore, but we could hear that, like, the cheers.
Sorry. I was cheering on your opinion.
However, do you guys know where I was?
You were saying the story was so-so.
Ah, okay.
You're a
It has ended. I don't like. I think comparison is the death of joy, and all. However, I do think that of the Disney Plus series we've gotten, in the end, I liked watching the other two front to back more. I think that this Loki series is fun. It was good. However, I don't think it was as seamlessly done as the other two shows. And maybe that's because it is a multi-season show. I have to wait to get it all. But as of right now, the one season we've gotten, I don't think it stands.
If they would have told us,
here's what I'll say.
Seasons
Here's what I'll say. That's, I think, all it is. Because think about how Mando season 1 was viewed. That show as a standalone one season, if that was it, think about how pissed and cynical we would have been. But that was clearly set up for 2 seasons. So then when you watch it, obviously, you take that ending and you're like, man, this season was pretty good, but man, season 2, I can't wait to see all this stuff culminate.
That's a good point. You
so
look at
I think
season 1 Mando finale.
WandaVision obviously feels really like way more fun of a watch, and I agree. I enjoyed watching that show front to back more, but it's so unfair because like that show was all tied together at the end for the most part. For the most part.
Also, you think about how much runtime we got. Like WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, those were both like total runtime, very like long shows. Because like I think wasn't WandaVision like the equivalent of like 3 movies almost?
Yeah.
And same thing with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and this was like 4.5 hours max.
See, I'm not saying that like.
No, you are. You're saying you fucking hated it and it was garbage.
I'm telling you that I liked the other shows more is all.
Yeah.
And I do think that's not just from I haven't gotten all the information standpoint. That's from the stories they've told standpoint. And for me,
that's fair. I mean, you can't judge Loki on what hasn't happened yet. You can't.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I understand. I just like, as enjoyable as it was to see this character, and like I said, just how much I responded to like Loki actually coming so full circle, so much more before he even considers it. And even when like, because think about it, it's like Ragnarok, he kind of gets his act together, but even then he's still being greedy and selfish and still thinking about his own motivations. So it's like that growth is so much further away from where this Loki is, and he makes it all in this quick, and like he makes that switch. That just was like that carries a lot of weight with me, and I don't know. I just like
it has the opposite effect for me.
Okay,
I don't think he earned this shit one bit. I do think they had to for the sake of time.
Okay.
Like,
but if it was gonna happen to Loki, isn't it not so stupidly ironic, but so Loki that it's with essentially himself, like
who? Sylvie?
Yeah, like that's a Loki. Like that to me makes it so earned because yeah, it might be fucked up. He looked his brother in the face that he grew up with loving and his mom, and he pretty much caused his mom's death. He is stabbed Thor in the back more times than you can count. Essentially is responsible for driving his dad out of Asgard. But look at what happens when he fucking falls in love with himself. Shocker. Like it's not earned, like it's fucked up, but it's so earned. You can't deny it that isn't the most Loki way for him to redeem himself.
I think that by the end of this series, he would have earned it. Like the emotions he's showing at the end, I fuck with it. I love him being like, Sylvie, no, please. Like I love all that. And I love where his head's at. And I think that if they hadn't had him watch his whole arc in the TVA and then be like, fuck it, I'm done, I would have been more okay with it. But he seemed to kind of just resign himself a little bit to Sylvie.
But
Like,
think
he was
about
like,
who else
I'm
though.
gonna
You
follow
also
from now on.
you also have classic Loki. You have alligator Loki. You have all the other Lokis that have inspired him. He's seen so much more in such a rapid amount of time. In a sense, I'm not going to sit here and deny what he saw on on Loki's ship and what came to happen and what he had to witness. But I'm just saying he saw all of Loki's old arc, all of like where the path he was headed down, the rest of that arc. He has seen what happened to classic Loki, to Gator Loki, all these other Lokis, and how insufferable they all are, and how predictable it is that what they're going to do, and that they can't like simply put that aside. I just think it makes so much sense. And like to put it plainly, like to go back to The Sopranos, like Tony says after oh wait, I don't know if you've seen this. I may not be able to spoil this. Oh shit, I don't think I can tell you.
I just go over it. I'm not gonna. I've not listened to it or watched it, but I don't really care. So, and I don't want to be the only one that hears your reference and no one understands it.
I'll say this is that Loki has a newfound appreciation and like new insight on life. Like it's much different. He's seen what happened because look at Mobius. Those were all healthy things for the most part by the end of them. Those were all healthy relationships.
Yeah, I'm with it.
So for me, it just makes it make sense for me.
I just want to say one thing real quick. I think that the difference here is if you take 2012 Loki and give him this character arc, which is essentially what happened, he hasn't earned it. He hasn't earned this good story arc. But if you take 2020, Infinity War Loki, who's lived all that, and then give him this character arc, he's completely earned it because he's gone through all that. And he hasn't really gone, like the 2012 Loki Loki, the variant Loki, obviously hasn't really gone through the rest of his story. But he's at least seen it and knows what happens, and it's affected him.
Though, is that like, I guess that maybe they even show that in Thor that Loki wasn't always bad. He literally says to Thor, "I never wanted a fucking throne. I just wanted to be your equal." You know. So, I mean,
is it really Loki's fault in the first place? Even that he's making these decisions?
Yes, because the original version of him made these decisions.
Did he though?
Yes.
All right, Joe, for the sake of talking about characters, I'm going to need you to fuck off with the none of it matters thing.
I know. But what I'll say about Loki's arc that I really like is I don't really care that it's Loki. It could have been any arc, ever. What it's showing is that you're taking the most basically black and white character, guy who hates everyone that's not himself or even hates himself too. This guy has no way of ever thinking in a way that you would think a hero could. And then you show him the reality of the universe, and the switch is almost immediate. Like, the dude realizes what's actually going on, and he's like, oh my god, like, I have just been, like, wasting my life doing what I've done.
I've been the biggest asshole in existence.
And I think
for
that
no
arc,
fucking reason.
Whether saying Loki's earned it or not, I don't really care about that. I'm just saying the arc itself is so cool to show someone as Loki becoming who he is now, which is never a Loki that we thought we'd see.
I'm with that.
We have seen this Loki, and it was for 30 seconds in Infinity War where he gave up his life and then immediately died afterwards, and we're like, this is how we're gonna fucking end with Loki. We're never gonna see Tom Hiddleston again because he wanted to give up his life, but now we get to continue seeing this Loki.
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with I guess ultimately I am more cool with this story than I wasn't. I am more than anything else making conversation with you guys. I am reflecting a lot of the gripes that my girlfriend had with the series because I want to hear, and you guys are knocking it out of the park for me. You're making it a lot better for me. But
are you just gonna, instead of like talking to her about it, you're just gonna be like, here, listen to them tell you why?
Refer to 1 hour and 10 minutes.
Here's the thing: is that everything?
What'd you say?
refer to 1 hour and 10 minutes and then conversate with me? And
think about your opinion and come back.
No, I'd see, like, the point she's raised, though, I was with. Like, that's what ultimately made me go, oh, okay, because I'm the watch television and love whatever the fuck I'm looking at type of guy. You know, like, I don't need a ton for you to satisfy me. However, there are a lot of people with a lot of fair gripes about this show. And I like to make them all feel heard.
Listen,
on the
we
podcast,
get it. You
know
hate the doppelbanging, Colton. Move on.
I never had a problem with it. I'm okay with the whole Sylvie is Sylvie, not Loki. Fuck it, they're together.
Nah,
sort
Loki and Loki are fucking.
I do think that because they didn't ultimately make the villain, I think that I'm okay with them doing Kang, obviously, for the setup of everything. Thematically, though, it would have made a ton of sense for it to be a Loki at the top of this thing.
I was so convinced after what we've got, after not getting the big thing in like Wanda and all these other shows. I was so convinced they're not going to do that.
Oh, you know they did that shit on purpose.
Yeah.
They were like, we're going to hit you. We're going to hit you hard. Oh, you didn't get it. And then we're going to hit you, and we're going to hit you hard, and you're going to think you're not getting it, but then bam, we're going to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, thank you for that.
With everyone saying, like, it makes sense for it to be a Loki, it should be a Loki, like, I don't really follow because, like, this is a Loki show, yes, but this is the biggest thing to happen in the MCU, and why give it to Loki and not like a character like Kang? Kang and time and the quantum realm is like the phase 5, phase 6 big bad. Like,
I got the Loki gripe going into the finale. After the finale, given the circumstances of the finale, them saying this is the guy who created it all, he's the one who remains, it wouldn't make sense for it to be Loki. However, going into that, knowing none of it, it would have made sense for that guy to have existed, a different Loki variant to have gotten there and taken over like that Kang had offered. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Like, that would have made sense. I don't think it would have made sense for Loki to have created the TVA. That would have been way out of character and been like, wait, what the fuck?
It's crazy. Like, I thought coming into this pod, we'd be going for at least 4 or 5 hours. You know, there'd be something so massive. I mean, obviously the multiverse is massive, but it's like, you can't really theorize or talk about it. It's just something that, like, you're just going to have to accept what comes on screen when it comes on screen. Like, there's nothing we can really theorize about because they can literally do anything they want, which is insane.
I mean, the most we can theorize is like what we're going to see in season 2.
Yeah.
And at this point, I have no idea because I don't know where it falls in the timeline.
Well, yeah.
So it's like,
that's the big thing is like, we don't know if Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness is going to, like, if Loki's going to be in that, is that after we get all of this stuff resolved with the TVA or before? Does he abandon the TVA? Does he have to get the fuck out of there and get into whatever with Doctor Strange? Does Doctor Strange stumble across the TVA? Is that going to be a part of, like, what's going to fucking happen?
Just because, so I feel like, without thinking about timeline and everything else that's going on, I feel like season 2 would be Loki getting back to Sylvie or the correct multiverse, let's say. But thinking about the timeline, what if crazy world, we get Loki in next January, Loki season 2, before Multiverse of Madness?
Oh my!
See, there is the distinct possibility that I thought that maybe they were just here's my thing. The news about Kate Herron not directing and Michael Waldron not writing potentially is what made me go, okay, we're not getting this shit anytime soon. Because if they had stayed on, I would be on with the theory that they'd already written it and they were ready to film it as soon as this shit ended. You know what I'm saying? And then that shit could be out, or not early. I guess they could start airing it around. It'd be a really quick turnaround if they aired it in January. That'd be some.
Oh, it'd be a quick turnaround. But I mean, I'm saying
here's your thing though. What if they had it written from the beginning?
Some of it and done it.
WandaVision got what? How many episodes? 13? 9? Okay, Loki was 6. So, yeah. I mean, how out of the cards is it if WandaVision shot 9 episodes I mean, what if they just kept right on rolling and shot it all?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Bang.
But the fact that she didn't direct and
Yeah,
the writers,
right. That
unless
kind
they
of,
brought them
do
on,
it all in one sitting.
unless they brought them on to also then film the rest while they were still there, which they could have done. It would have been weird, but you know,
Yeah,
Marvel likes to do weird shit.
Multiverse of Madness. In Multiverse of Madness, we're confirmed to get Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I'd be cool with, you know, it being just another version of Loki that looks like Tom Hiddleston. However, you lose the character you've come to know sort of thing. We could get like a really wild variant of Loki, which could be cool, like as a character element, but then it gets a little confusing. Now we've got two Lokis in our universe who look the exact same, and we're going to officially follow two Lokis.
I mean, we already know, technically we already know we have at least two Lokis who look the same because we have fucking President Loki.
He got his arm ripped off.
I mean, yeah, he got his arm ripped off.
You don't have to worry about him. But I mean, like, if they were to bring a whole ass other Loki to be a character in Multiverse of Madness for like the whole movie, then it would be like, ooh, we're branching into some weird characters.
Just give him a scar on his face, easily discernible. You know, it's easy as that. Just black eye or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like if we did get another like version of Loki that was in Multiverse of Madness, it would be like either one where it's like you're getting an arm ripped off or something from the very beginning so we can tell who you are, or it's like you're going to be on screen for 2 minutes and then we're going to leave your multiverse.
And see, that's the thing, is that in the Multiverse of Madness, Tom Hiddleston appearing as Loki could be as simple as being in it for 2 or 3 minutes. Like, you never know because the multiverse is fucking big.
Yeah, it could be them jumping from like multiverse to multiverse. They jump in and they jump
What
in
if
on one.
Doctor
Like,
Strange
Loki's standing in front of everyone, you know, like being crowned king or whatever.
What if Doctor Strange like used the TVA for help, and that's where Loki comes in?
Well, and see, I'd be cool with that too.
Or
But
at the end, couldn't you see? What if you saw at the end, like in a post-credit scene or something, like Loki getting in touch with Doctor Strange and telling him what's happened? That's Loki's play. Like, he has no allies in the TVA right now. He reaches out to Doctor Strange and tells him what's going on. Like, yo,
well, and I mean, that's a thing. That's not a post credits. That happens towards the beginning of the movie.
How does he get back?
Okay, I didn't
How
know.
does he get
back? He's at the TVA.
That has to be a season 2 thing. There's no way they have
there's
him
no
getting
ramification
back
for it. If he goes back to the sacred timeline, like, I don't know.
Said, I mean,
well, I guess there isn't. I don't know. Like, is it as simple as him just being like, "I'm going to go talk to Doctor Strange"?
I'm back, bitches.
Function at this point, the multiverse is in madness. What are they doing?
That's true.
Is this Kang's mission to shut down all the other timelines through the TVA?
Wait,
well, he could be using for this King. It very well may be like he was using the TVA, like once in his multiverse, it all split up to him, and then he is now deciding, all right, the multiverses are out there. I'm fucking conquering everything.
Wait. What's on their TV? Like, do they just see?
They also see the sacred, because to them the sacred timeline is their sacred timeline, or is their timeline, not our timeline.
Are they being lied to? And okay. So Kang lied to him last time, but it was kind of real. Like, it was one ring, it was one sacred timeline, but like now this time he's lying to him and it's not real at all. Like, it's completely different.
So,
or maybe it is.
What if now we're dealing with the Council of Kangs? The Kang Conference. They all got together and were like,
Kang Conference.
Wait, but what if this is just the big loop? What if this is the end of the loop and the beginning of the loop, and then it just ends up doing the same thing every single time?
Well, Kang did imply that's exactly what.
That's what he said.
No.
If they killed him, he would, another one of him would take over, find Goliath, use it to reset.
Not what I mean. I mean, this is the story that is like, this is the end and start of the loop, is whenever Kang dies from Loki and Sylvie, and then just basically it just goes right back. Like, I mean, it's like,
yeah, that's what we're saying.
But it's not what I'm trying. I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's really weird. We
don't know.
I had it, and then I know it was.
It was a fleeting thought.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay. If Kang started this multiversal war to begin with, would make sense if it started with him from this version of himself dying. You know, maybe this is the start of the multiversal war. This is how it starts whenever the Kang that, you know, controlled basically every other Kang is dead. Makes sense.
Yeah.
and he resolved said war. But that's the thing, is that he's not there to resolve it any longer. So, like, the previous version of that guy is going to resolve it. And then, but it's, like, different. It's not the same, though. That's the thing. It is the same story, but in a different way. Because
he never said that the same version of him would restore it. He just said a version of me.
Kang.
Yeah, you know, Nathaniel Richards would conquer every other timeline and have then a set timeline until, you know, full circle again, someone comes and, you know, says, fuck you, and kills him, and then, you know, it all goes over and over again if he's right. But, I mean, it's not like we've...
Are we to now, is this the only TVA still? Or, like, what's going on?
Every multiverse has a TVA. Are you kidding me?
But no.
But yes. Because we already know there's at least 2 TVAs. Every multiverse has a TVA.
No. The TVA exists outside of...
No, it's outside of the timeline.
Yeah, it's one company.
No, it's outside of the... We know there has to be multiple... we know there's at least 2 TVAs. Because there's clearly a TVA from the sacred timeline and a TVA from this new or from our multiverse, and then there's a TVA from this different multiverse. So that would lead you to assume that every single multiverse, that Kang sets up a TVA.
Also, so what we're saying here is that if the TVA is in the quantum realm is also affected by the multiverse. Like,
yeah,
the quantum realm
kidding me?
Isn't just the quantum realm.
Of course it is.
Okay. So what's your problem with it then, Joe?
No, nothing. It's just whenever time is involved in multiverses and timelines, it all just kind of gets abstract. And I kind of just talk out loud, you know, to maybe spark something. I wasn't really heading anywhere in specific. I guess
Okay.
It's really all I do. You know, I don't really head anywhere in specific. I kind of just go, and then if it takes off, I'm like, hey, I did something there.
Hey, I did something. Okay, so say we have one quantum realm on the sacred timeline. When the multiverse opens, as many quantum realms exist now?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to clear that up.
Because I would assume the quantum realm is just kind of like I would assume it is a part of the of each individual universe.
Is Quantum Mania just the Quantum Mania title version of Multiverse of Madness?
Probably.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
Well, actually,
they'll deal with the multiverse shit. They'll deal with the
quantum. Who knows? Now. Maybe there is only one quantum realm, but then there can be multiple an infinite number of TVAs inside of this quantum realm, regardless. But maybe there's only one quantum realm, and the reason there's Quantum Mania is because whenever you go in, there's no telling you come out in the right multiverse.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I see. That's the thing, is they're just gonna have to fucking seal this shit up somehow, because I'm lost. I don't know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's hard to act like, dude, it's all a crapshoot. Like, nobody really knows. That's what sucks. We're all equally as right and wrong.
Yeah, because nobody knows what the fuck is happening.
I'm more right.
The answer with the TVA specifically, I don't think we're gonna get any of that until season 2 of Loki. Like, Multiverse of Madness won't address the TVA.
That's why I think that right there is why I think we're either going to get a different Loki or we're going to get a different Loki, and he's either going to be killed or it's going to be like a 2-second Loki, because they would have to go through the TVA to get to our Loki, and I just doubt they deal with the TVA in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I mean, but do they almost have to at this point? Like, is Doctor Strange, like, what's Doctor Strange's goal? Like, what is the point of that movie? Is it, like, just to try and survive? Like, what's the deal? Like, what's his intention here?
Who fucking knows?
I said, man, it's tough.
Yeah, I think we're
like where
yeah.
WandaVision left us.
we're about
Okay,
fucking
at
done.
least with WandaVision, it was somewhat wrapped up. Like I'll say, like they didn't put a bow on it, but they put some newspaper
most
around it.
Well,
It wasn't wrapping paper, but they gave it the newspaper wrap. But like this is like massive scale stakes here for the phase 4, the future. And we have gotten like they put this in a fucking ripped up price chopper bag and it was a liquid that it was carrying.
And
Like
that's why it's so different.
A liquid.
Is WandaVision, we thought we were going to get these huge ramifications from, and we didn't. And then because of that, they could still neatly tie the newspaper around it. You know, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we didn't get these massive ramifications, so they could neatly tie it up. This, we got these massive ramifications, and now we're like, what the fuck is going on?
Yep.
And the only real problem and the only reason we're not able to theorize isn't because, like, obviously we can theorize all we want about a season 2. The problem is that there's like 5 fucking movies until then.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
And the fact that Loki's appearing in them. Like, how's that work? What the fuck? I'm at a loss.
Yeah.
And
pretty much
frankly,
same.
Maybe it's time to cut the losses. Do you guys have much else to say? Like,
I don't think so.
This? I mean, other than Miss Minutes knew everything all along, apparently.
Fucking yeah. I think Joe was right there whenever he said Miss Minutes was on some fuck shit.
And she knew everything the whole time. So interesting. She was in the position we thought Renslayer was in the entire time. Fascinating. I look forward to seeing more of Miss Minutes because we will.
I bet you we get a Marvel short with Miss Minutes.
That's actually probably a very fair bet. I don't have much else to say though. Anything else about this Loki season finale?
It's just you got all this show. All that can be taken away is it's just what's ahead. That's all there is to guess about. What's ahead? What are we gonna get? That's the only. I think that's all you can. You can't. There isn't a, like Colton, you said, like this show standing alone as this one season isn't enough.
Yeah.
So it's gonna have to be about when do we see this stuff get wrapped up, which comes tidbits and maybe Multiverse of Madness, and then Loki season 2, which is X amount of days away. Who knows? So I think that's all it is. It's just about what's ahead, and that'll change how we perceive this show a ton. And a lot of that'll probably go the same for WandaVision and the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. I think all 3 of those shows likely get aged better or poorly depending on how those arcs pan out in their movies. That's simply as it goes.
That's probably fair, Yeah, I mean, as it stands, I liked Loki. It was a fun watch.
I'll say this. This is my closing remark in that regard. I think Loki has the biggest, like, the tallest ceiling. This show has the most potential to improve.
Lowest
I would
floor,
say
highest ceiling.
Exactly. I think you're definitely drafting this show on what's to come, not just the standalone power of it. So to me, this show,
this is the sleeper pick.
Yes, agreed. It has the most potential to age and improve better because of what happens. So.
Fuck Bret Hart. That's all I have to say about the end of this episode. This was the Penny Bloom podcast. It was the last edition of Loki's Losers.
For now.
We'll be back for season 2, whenever that may be. I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much. Any last thoughts on Loki before we get out of here?
Other than I'm sorry that I didn't have any super outlandish Phase 7 theory for you guys. But no, I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and can't wait to be back for season 2.
I can't wait. I can't wait either. Thank you, Miles Buttress, very much.
Hey, I mean, happy to be here. Happy to be back anytime.
Anytime. Would you be back next week even?
Next week, and then also, in
tomorrow or the next day maybe?
Maybe, and then also potentially in the next 6 to 12 months.
Somewhere around there.
Somewhere in that wide range of time.
Thank you, Kyler Barnett, once again.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I also want to clear something up. When I said fuck Bret Hart, I didn't mean the Canadian WWE superstar. I meant a person that I know named Bret Hart who
a
told
fucker
us to speed
named
the fuck up.
Bret Hart.
And frankly, I won't stand for it. We take our time, even though we are wrapping up right as he told us to hurry up.
We did that from our own free will, not because you told us to.
Terms. I have free will. Nobody's controlling me, Daddy. But head to patreon.com/CoroBloom where you will find a great Patreon over the next couple days. I'm going to split it up.
Okay, good.
So that I don't dump 3 hours of Patreon on your front door here and make this a 5-hour episode. I'll probably throw it in 45 minutes at a time. And increasingly over the next few weeks, those Patreons will become more and more unhinged. So have fun with that. Go to twitter.com and follow us at PennyBloomPod. Follow us on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And always praise Keanu Reeves. Also, if any of you have some information regarding the Canadian WWE superstar Bret Hart and the reason why I was right in saying fuck him, let me know. Bye. All right, so now I'm joined by none other than the magnificent Aurora Carter. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me back always.
Oh, always happy to have you. And although this was the last episode of Loki, it certainly won't be the last this podcast sees of you, Aurora. So I'm happy you're here. But let's talk this finale of Loki for all time, always. How'd you overall? How'd you feel?
It left me pretty confused. I mean, it definitely the way Sylvie was towards the end, it kind of I understand why, to really push the plot in the whole was it Kang the Conqueror? Kang. I understand that whole the reason why she had to do it and the whole multi. I understand it. It's just it left me more with big questions like Mobius and B-15 not remembering Loki, like how quickly the multiverse changed, how quickly it changed, and that was just wow.
So yeah, I've watched it 3 times now. I have a little bit better of an understanding of that last scene than I think I did before. On first watch, I got to the end. I was actually a little disappointed and confused. I was I was just kind of oh, okay, we're gonna go this route, and given more time to think, the multiverse had already started branching when Sylvie pushes Loki through that door. He ends up in a different timeline.
That's what I thought
TVA.
too. Yes.
Yeah, he's in a different TVA. At least as far as I can tell. But it certainly left me wanting, and there's a reason. We got confirmed that we're getting a Loki season 2. They knew they were going to leave us wanting. They were like, we're not going to finish this story yet, and you guys just have to be okay with that. And I think it's a hardcore adjustment, because we watched WandaVision knowing we were going to get all the answers in the finale. That was going to be it. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier was an isolated miniseries. I do wish that I could have known they might have been doing the multi-season thing for Loki to have changed my perspective on the viewing of it. I was convinced throughout the whole season that we were going to come full circle, all answers, everything you wanted. And we did get plenty, obviously, we figure out that this variant of Kang the Conqueror is the person who has been running the TVA, created the TVA, and isolated this timeline. It's wildly confusing. How'd you feel about Jonathan Majors coming in this role as He Who Remains?
Oh, the way he acts, so honestly, I saw some negative feedback, but I really enjoyed it. He seemed to be you led up to this, but then when they passed through the end of time, he was just oh, I don't know anything. And for him to play that freedom, you saw that switch for him to be like, I'm free, like I don't know
And the
anything.
move he makes in that moment to just pick something up off the desk and drop it a couple times, like, holy shit, I really don't know what's about to happen.
Like he was excited to know if they was going to kill him or not. Like he was excited.
He presented himself like a person who has lived a million lifetimes. You know, he's seen it all, done it all. He's ready for whatever anybody's going to throw at him. He's resigned himself here. Like, this character didn't lie once in this scene, I don't think. You know?
I don't think he did, yeah.
Obviously you're not supposed to, like, you're distrustful of him just because, like, you're like, this guy could be lying about anything. However, by the time he got to the end of it and everything that happened, it seems pretty clear he was not lying about shit. This is probably the least concerning Kang the Conqueror variant there is, which is horrifying for the MCU.
I'm just, I said something very stereotyped to myself because the way that he was, like, to see the way he looked, and it was kind of like, I remember my little brother saying that's what made Candyman so terrifying, because you see a person of color play such ominous role, and for him, the simple fact that he is such a diverse actor to begin with, he's going to do such an amazing job. Like, even the way his statue looked, I was like, oh, he's going to be so ominous. I can't wait.
It was so cool. And we talked about this a couple times. You know, we got the interview from an interview with Jonathan Majors in which he was asked if he knew anything about King the Conqueror coming up, and he said, I have no idea what you're talking about. Turns out he knew exactly what they were talking about. He was Marvel just finally found someone who's good at lying instead of teasing, you know. However, with these events, we got a big opening coming up with kind of gives us a little bit of an answer as to why the Eternals might be coming into the fold. Like the multiverse being unleashed, maybe they have a hand in it somehow. Maybe that's why they didn't intervene with Thanos. Spider-Man No Way Home, the rumors seem a lot more likely now, given that we've seen variants of Loki and they don't have to look just like Loki.
Yeah, especially the alligator one. So they will understand why you have old Tobey Maguire and early 30s Andrew Garfield. Yeah. That would explain, like,
and here's my thing.
So much.
I'm okay with these. I'm okay with these rumors. I'm not fully buying into them or anything. I'm in on Andrew Garfield. I think he'll definitely be in the movie. However, Tobey Maguire seems a bit out of practice for the Spider-Man role. You know what I'm saying?
I kind of feel like he will pick it up because, like, what else has Tobey really done? Like outside of that's memorable.
Did you watch the Great Gatsby movie?
Yes. I mean, but yeah.
No. That was in 2013, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did a movie in 2014 after that, and has not been in a live action film since, or a show. 7 years now that he hasn't been on screen. Hard for me to buy into the idea that he'll be.
He could,
but like in a cameo. He's not going to be a part of a story, I don't think.
Oh, of
you know
course.
What I'm
like I was watching reruns of Smallville when Christopher Reeve was in the wheelchair. I was expecting like Toby might have a scene like that. Like, but when Toby comes in, I need to hear his trilogy music. Like, I need to hear the music. I need to. Like, that score was so epic. So if that comes in, oh wow. And then, oh wow, that Spider-Man was ridiculous.
That is we jumped way ahead here. I
want to
bring it back to the episode a little bit. Me and you went back and forth a couple weeks ago about how we weren't completely on board with Silky, with Sylvie and Loki hooking up, being a romantic item. My feelings semi-shifted on that in episode 5. I was like, okay, I can get behind it a little bit more. It all running together. Like, if I watched it all back to back to back to back, it felt a little more natural. Then I saw a tweet that said Thor's brother kissed Thor's sister. And it fucked me up a little bit. I was like, that's a really weird way to think about it.
Okay, well, you know, that sounds like a Family Strokes plot. But anyway, what I was going to say, I also was reading somewhere on Twitter when Loki had made the blanket go over them, and they was like, wait, they kind of both frost giants?
Frost giants,
And it was like they don't get cold. So for them to do that, yeah. Did I black out? Did I cut out at all? Did I cut out?
No, you're good.
Okay.
No, you're good.
Yeah, for them, like for that to happen, it was like, oh, okay, so this scene is much more intimate. And the only thing I don't understand is why didn't they show when they did that with the blanket, or when they both was enchanting Elias, or when they kissed? Why didn't a variant spike happen? Like, why didn't that happen? Like, I don't.
Well, I understand why the Elias and the blanket thing didn't happen, and it's because they were at the void in the end of time. And when they're there, no variance energy can be detected because it's the end and it's kind of outside of time.
Okay.
However,
okay, that does make sense.
And therefore, I think their kiss wouldn't affect it either because he's in the void. So they kind of removed themselves from that, which also means that it couldn't have been, it probably wasn't their kiss that put the multiverse into madness. It was certainly just the end of time. So it was the end of that timeline.
Do you think that we will get the ancient one back? Okay, because of Loki. Like, when I saw the way that it was also splitting up, I was remember like subtle things that the ancient one was saying in Doctor Strange, Infinity War. Like, did she have knowledge that this was a big possibility, that this might, like, did she ever have a conversation with the what was his name? The one who remains. Like, he who remains. Did she like have a knowledge of this? Cause the way that she was picking stuff apart, it seemed like she kind of knew that this was like a risk that could happen.
It is really confusing because if you look at some of the Ancient Ones' lines, it seems like they had a different idea for the multiverse. Like, they had an idea for the multiverse and hadn't fully nailed down what they were going to do with it.
Okay.
Another thing that's confusing the shit out of me, and this plays into the Ancient One thing, is so if Kang the Conqueror, or He Who Remains, Immortus, he's an amalgamation of several characters here, isolated one timeline, isolated our timeline, their timeline, and said this is the sacred one. How were there ever variants that looked different? Like, I can't wrap my mind around how the multiverse didn't already exist. Like, well, the multiverse existed, but I don't get the mechanics of how it was running parallel to our sacred timeline.
Okay, I thought about that too, but I kind of thought about it if it was like well, the viewers can't see what I'm doing, so I can't use like a visual demonstration. So I'm gonna try to speak it. So I was kind of seeing it as if there was like a constant line, but like all the multiverses was there. Like, this was the one that was like more like open. Like, this was like the open one, but everything else was like in a jail way. And then the only time those variants was starting to break out of it, that's when it was just like too complex. Like, even Sylvie, for instance, like, we don't know really what she still did, but like a little thing could have like broken that frequency out to touch the main one, and that's what he didn't want.
Gotcha.
Because I don't believe he ever really. I kind of call Cap on the simple fact that he cut off every other one. Like, I really call that a Cap. Like, he just really separated them like extremely far apart.
He didn't destroy. I don't think he like destroyed any other time. Like, he probably destroyed some other timelines. There's infinite timelines, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a distinct possibility that happened, you know. The way that I like to think about it is that the problem is the wording he uses, where he says, I isolated our timeline. Because
so
I thought the way that I thought the mechanics worked was that they organized all the multiverse to have the same events. You know, so that nothing ever branched off and did shit out of the ordinary. But then
so does that mean
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, does that, so when he's, okay, I just remember he did say that. So is he saying like we're right here, but the universal war is still going on, but he just took us out of that? Like he just kept us hidden somewhere?
I don't think so. I think he was being straight up when he said that he ended the multiversal war. You know, like I think he did. Like the conquering aspect of this Kang the Conqueror already happened. The one that we see here. You know, like he won. He took over the. I'm just a little bit lost on what it is, and you know I'm gonna tell the listeners right now too. We're recording this before I record the other segment with Kyler, Joseph, and Miles. So if we come to some sort of revelation there, keep in mind that I'm not just withdrawing from Aurora here. This happens before that.
Yeah, but oh god, I can't wait to hear what your boys come up with.
Joe's gonna have a lot to say.
Oh, Joe, I see Joe and Kyler, like they just gonna go at it. But but I'm really, really curious though, because it kind of seemed that the multiverse had to exist with Sylvie, Alligator, like it had to, like
it did, like it absolutely existed. So like the Ancient One was speaking facts when she told Doctor Strange, you know, there's a vast multiverse. How's it feel to be a part of something much, much larger than you, like stuff like that. And I'm just confused as to how it was organized. Like, I still don't completely get it. And seeing, I'm going to guess that all of the multiverses were running on this same timeline. The branches are those individual timelines going off the rails, you know? So
this is the main timeline, but all of them is just branching out to their own individual paths.
Yeah.
So, okay.
There are variant events happening somewhere. Variant events can happen everywhere now.
You know how long do you think this multiversal war, like, how long do you think this is going to last? Because I feel like this is going to last for a while.
This is going to be at least the rest of Phase 4, and like potentially even further into that. Like, I think what we're ultimately looking at, the thing that made me think that Kang the Conqueror wouldn't show up so early is because I thought he was our next Thanos, and it took 20 movies to get to Thanos the last time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. This is one movie or two movies and 4 shows later, we got Kang the Conqueror. You know, I
just think that Marvel is like, okay, like we on it now. Because I understand, because at first they kind of had to build up all these characters, but with the television shows, they can easily be like, boom, Scarlet Witch got her thing, Loki doing his, like Falcon became, we don't need a 2-hour movie in 6 months to do Falcon becoming a Captain America. Like, this is all just, it's all like, it's coming now.
We're just kind of all gas from here on in terms of like, so I am interested though in seeing like the multiverse plot. It's like Loki, WandaVision, Spider-Man, and then Doctor Strange. So with these movies like Eternals and Shang-Chi, it is going to be interesting to have Marvel movies happening that aren't directly affected by the multiversal cataclysm happening. You know, like, it's like shit is hitting the fan. How is it not affecting everybody? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm interested to see, like, when timelines branch, do they just become that timeline is isolated? They have to figure out a way to travel between multiverses, right? Like, that's how that.
Do you think that we are going to start getting okay? Can I remember Joseph said something where he was comparing DC, the DC cinematic universe to Marvel, when it said Marvel kind of has like everyone movies and stories have to correlate with each other. Do you think with this multiverse, Marvel's going to start doing like they have their own like war over here, they have their own thing right here? Like, it's all these different storylines that it doesn't, like, this movie don't have to do nothing with this Fantastic Four. Like, they on their own thing. It has nothing to do with the Avengers. Like, yeah.
I mean, it's a distinct possibility. Like, you look at like, they have the opportunity to execute on a much grander level what the CW Arrowverse attempted. You know, with like Supergirl existing in a different different Earth than Flash and Arrow. You know, like they crossed over every once in a while, but them being on separate planes allowed for them to have stories that didn't need to be affected by others.
Yeah.
So it's like the complaints about the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale where it's like, oh, it was in New York. Where's Spider-Man? You know, like, fuck that. You know, like, it's just part of the story. Go with it. Who cares if, like, it's not real life. Someone wrote this. It's like, not like Spider-Man had the choice here. But it's just going to get very interesting here soon. Either very difficult to follow for people who are new to the universe, or they're just going to start separating shit. You know?
Oh,
what
yes.
I'm
If
saying?
you just get on this train with like how big WandaVision got, you just want to just watch it like my great grandmother did. She was so confused. You're not going to understand the commercials, what she's doing. Like, you're not going to understand anything. But Colton, I feel like I'm going to make a lot of people mad when I say this. Okay. So Black Panther comes way after all this multiverse, like after Doctor Strange and all that stuff. I completely understand how big Chadwick Boseman was to the role of Black Panther. Like, I understand. But with like the multiverse and stuff like that, and with variants, I would have understood if they could use one in place of T'Challa, because yes, he was the first Black Panther, but T'Challa was here way before before he even thought of the role. So I was saying, like, yes, it goes to his little sister. I would like to see that, even though I want to see how she's going to bulk up if they do that for her. But I would still like to see T'Challa, like, even if it is a variant. Like, I know it's very like a taboo topic, because even people are very
so difficult. Like, I can't imagine how difficult it is for Marvel Studios to like navigate what they're supposed to do with it. You know, like with having Chadwick Boseman just passed last year, like, devastating. Like, I cried for a week when that happened. Like, I was like,
because he was so monumental to Marvel fans. Like, seeing him come up in Civil War with his claws coming out on the rooftop, big, like, one of the biggest moments. And I understand that, but T'Challa still has his whole, like, he still has his whole story. It's like you're not even doing a character justice. Like, I understand the role, iconic, will always be iconic, but yeah,
and you're right about the multiverse building in this opportunity to fill the void here. I think that our Earth's Black Panther is going to be, if not immediately, will end up being Shuri. You know what I'm saying? Like, that feels inevitable. Like, it's what should happen probably. But like with the multiverse opening, there's another version of Killmonger out there. There's other versions of all these characters. You know what I'm saying? And it's just there's infinite possibilities in terms, and the way they've been treating that sequel for Black Panther. Have you like read the reports about how like there's been like 6 incarnations of the script? They're doing another one. Like,
I did see they was rewriting and going back to the drawing boards. Like, I really feel they are so pressured. Like, I feel like they're more pressured for that than the Fantastic Four, the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. I feel like they are so stressed about that script.
It's the one that could cause the greatest damage to their company. You know, sadly, you know, like that's how they're approaching it. Is that this is the one that could do the most damage to Marvel and Disney.
It was a lot of racial stuff with that when the movie came out. Period. It was a lot of stuff with that, a lot of controversy, a lot of political stuff. So that's a
handling
big,
this has to be extremely careful. Extremely careful. But for these last few minutes I've got you, let's bring it back to Loki here. What was like the moment for you in this episode that was it? Like that was the moment from this episode that made me go, this was good, you know? Did you have one? Because that's important too.
You said what?
I said, did you have one? Because if not, that's also important and notable.
Okay, I didn't have like a big, okay, I was still shocked on how fast came in. Like I'm very shocked. Like you said, I'm very shocked. But also the biggest thing is Miss Minute. That is one conniving clock. Like I didn't think that like she's
straight up lying to some folks. And like
is wow.
She knows everything. She's just lying through her fucking teeth to everybody. What is she? How's that work?
Like a holographic clock is one of the biggest like bitches ever in this MCU. Like it is what's so ominous about it is like she gave me the same feels of Happy Tree Friends on Netflix. Like you see these little cute little animals, and then all of a sudden everything gets the shit. Like I was just like, what? Like she was so PBS Kids at first.
Like spot fucking on the Happy Tree Friends. That's so funny.
Yes, like she was so PBS Kids, then went straight Adult Swim. It was like she was just like,
hi there, y'all.
Yes, and that accent and everything. Like I want her to be a female Ultron. I need that. Like she is so.
Oh, that'd be pretty epic. That would be epic. Oh
yes,
I ship Miss Minutes and Ultron. It must happen now. That'd be glorious.
Yes.
For me, and I don't know. Jonathan Majors' performance in this episode, the best part for me. I also love Tom Hiddleston's acting. No, I don't think I've ever watched an actor break into tears and it affected me quite as much as Tom Hiddleston's acting does. Like that fucks me up. When he just sat on the other side of the door after Sylvie pushed him through and just sat there like crying, like I was like, fuck. This dude's incredible. And the whole, like Sylvie's like, kill me. And the way he's like, no. Like, it just felt to me like Loki's got things figured out to an extent in this finale. He knows what his purpose is now. He knows what his glorious purpose is, and it's Sylvie. Like, at least that's where his head's at.
Even Tom's small details trying to convince him, like he was like to the point where he was hyperventilating. Like you could see him being like, "Believe me, this is not the route." Like he was so scared, like he could not convince Sylvie. Like you can see that fear in him building. Like, don't do it. Like, and I've never seen Loki so scared. He was going like, "Hey, it's a black dude that's about to fuck shit. We need to get all the guns." Like, whoa! And then he sees the statue. It's like, oh, it already happened. Like,
what's funny is like the vibes I'm getting from this scene where he goes to Mobius and is like, "There's someone we freed the timeline. There's someone very powerful coming. We've got to prepare." And I got the vibes of Hulk crashing into Doctor Strange, being like, "He's coming," talking about Thanos. Like same vibes, like they just made a series out of the first 20 minutes of Infinity War. You know what I'm saying? Like that event. But Loki and Sylvie going back and forth, fighting there at the end. Loki just trying to, save her from herself. Really, I loved that. I love that the twist at the end of this season is that Sylvie's the one faced with a problem, not Loki. Like Loki knew what he needed to do. He was sure. He was like, I know what I want. It was Sylvie who also knew what she wanted, but she was faced with the tougher choice. Do I kill the guy or do I trust Loki now? Loki was all in. He was like, I'm with Sylvie. And there's one line in particular that I fucking loved. It was from Jonathan Majors. "Oh, grow up, Sylvie, murderer, hypocrite."
He did put that in her face. Like she just said, the dumb look. Like, damn, okay, I did do that. Yeah, okay, yeah. You got me.
kind of like he was kind of like, you ain't been all that either. Come on,
like you gotta know. A hypocrite. That's kind of like what he was doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Colton, for like my last thing I want to say, now that we have the multiverse branching out, I really have a statement I really want to say about a future thing that we're going to after Loki. Disney. Iron Man is now gone. Please don't put him in. I don't want Tom Holland. I don't want Peter. I don't want them to say anything about Iron Man. Please, we got 3 Spider-Men. They better not say a word about him. That's all I have. Thank you.
Here's the thing. I know they're going to say something about
No.
it. Iron Man's going to be mentioned by Tom Holland at least. Here's my thing. I cannot stand that there are fans who want him to come back.
No, he's done.
You want that to be the end of his story? Like that's the completion of an arc. Do you really want to cheapen it by Tony Stark coming, like Robert Downey Jr. coming back?
No. He was a great character in the movies, but he was a shit character in the comics. Like, he wasn't that great of a guy in the comics. Let him stay gone. Spider-Man, Iron Man Jr., leave him alone. He's gone.
He's gone.
You got your own things to worry about. You are a fugitive. Like, sir.
That's what's crazy too. How are they going to deal with that on top of all the multiverse shit? Like,
I feel so bad for him.
Oh, he's in a rough spot.
He's like, all I want to do was bang MJ, go to school, play Legos, build Lego Death Star with my buddy.
I can climb up walls.
I just want to do doggy style on the ceiling. That's all I want to do. And I got to run from a guy in a helmet with cameras. A guy in a helmet and cameras messed my life up. Damn. But I took on Thanos. But that's...
Aurora, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciated your input on this Loki series, and I look forward to any and all input you have on everything we have going forward.
Thank you. Yeah. It's been a podcast. It's been a whole sausage party. I need, somewhere in between. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we needed that. Here's the thing. Like, I got Emily on the podcast. We had one woman on the podcast, but it's my girlfriend. It's cheating. We had to get more diversification up in this hoe for sure. But again, thank you so much, Aurora, for joining me for the Penny Bloom podcast. This was the last episode of Loki's Losers for now. We will be back for season 2. I can tell you that much. Go to patreon.com/CoroBloom, where you'll hear a certain length of an intro on the front of this episode. I haven't recorded it yet, so we'll find out. There's also like over 12 hours of exclusive content over there, which I know you haven't listened to. Only a couple people have, because I only have a few patrons. But also go to Twitter, follow on Penny Bloom Pod. Follow on Instagram at Penny Bloom Podcast. And I was Colton Robertson. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And always praise Keanu Reeves.